that now. So thanks for joining on time today. This is HumanWare Live, and today's goal is to demonstrate for you the new features that are coming in the Prodigi for Windows software that will be released in approximately a week from today. Just to help me out in knowing how to form this presentation, if you could just type yes or no in the chat box. Have you seen or used Prodigi Windows previously? So yes, if you have seen or used it before, no, if you have not, just to help me form this. And you should have the ability to type in the chat. I've turned that on for everyone. Let's see what no there. A yes and a no. Okay, that's 3. I think we got about 3 more to go. Can't force you to. I know, Alan, I know you've seen it before. Kyle, I know you've seen it before. So I think we have a couple that need a little bit of orientation to what we are all about with Prodigi for Windows. So we will try to deliver a presentation that fills in on the highlights of it and what it's about. Again, this is HumanWare Live. I'm going to show the new features that are coming in version 1.3. I will provide a quick overview of what the Prodigi for Windows software is. And then I will plan next month, because there isn't a release in the month of May, to do a more in-depth demonstration of the software. But for today's purposes, I'm going to be more or less focused on the features that will be coming out next week. So with that having been said, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So very quickly, just let me know if for any reason you're not seeing the screen. You should be seeing our mission statement right now, which is to enable people with vision loss to fully participate. And here you can see on the screen an older gentleman using our Prodigi software on a fairly large PC with a document camera and keyboard to interact with a newspaper that he's looking to read. And it's not just older folks that we want to use the software, but across the range of age groups. And I think in the next slide, which again, I'm not going to go death by PowerPoint today, as they say, but I do want to just give you the reasons why we went ahead and developed this. And I think this covers all of those different ages that might be using Prodigi for Windows. So at the top, we want to empower independence, low vision users to read, write, and explore independently, to allow them confidence and autonomy. So if you look back at that mission slide that we just left there, you saw an older individual being able to use a PC to continue reading and enjoying doing what they wanted to do in the world of reading, enjoyment, or for personal finances or keeping up their house or anything that they want to read about. They can do that on their own through the simplicity of the software. The second thing is we want to enhance and allow for inclusive learning. Clearly, education is hugely important, and when we think about the development of Prodigi for Windows, we want to provide access to content, support reading, which is the basis of all academic achievement, and to create that bridge from the grade school through middle school, high school, or as they call them, levels and so forth in other areas, and transition into that college, university, and ultimately into the work world. So again, that school to work bridge. And so you'll see that as the third reason why is professional advancement. Once somebody has reached the workaday world, if you will, we want them to be able to continue to use a software that can help them to read and manage their workload and advance in their chosen careers. Through voice of customer, the last two really came into fruition as we developed Prodigi for Windows, which has been out for almost a year now, I guess at least 9 months. But we wanted to allow for the software to be used on existing equipment or peripherals that folks might already have. So I'll go quickly through the available options of Prodigi for Windows in just a moment. But through voice of customer, we learned that people already were using a lot of Windows devices, and if we could allow them to continue to use those devices seamlessly in school, work, or their personal life, that would be really helpful to them and make it easy for them to transition to a tool like Prodigy for Windows. So we looked to develop it to be seamless with those. And then we wanted it to be cost effective. And again, if folks already own existing devices, one of the parts about having a software solution is that you don't have to buy necessarily all of the hardware to go with it, which brings the cost down. But again, as we develop the software and it becomes more and more advanced, and this is the third release that I'm going to be talking about today, we can keep it in a cost-effective price range, not only for individuals, but for schools or those who are out in the professional world to acquire the software and use it to meet their goals. So that's a little bit about why we went with the development that we did. It sort of bridges those three age groups from student to someone who's in the workforce to someone who needs it in their personal life. And then again, that VOC, that's the seamless integration and cost effectiveness for use. So as I said, I'm very quickly going to just go through our configurations, and then I'm going to jump into the software and demonstrate those new features, as well as provide a quick overview of Prodigy for Windows. If you have any questions at all while I'm going along, please feel free to type them in the chat tool. I have that turned on here. I prefer that you ask as they come to mind as opposed to hold them, although we will have Q&A at the end. So first slide here is a software only option. So this would be for individuals who already have a PC. So we're showing a couple of examples here, a tablet, an all-in-one monitor PC setup, and a laptop configuration here. But if you already have, say, a document camera, your keyboard and mouse, and other peripherals that you want to use, then software only would be an option that you would be able to look at. The second is what we call a starter kit. So the items on the left of the screen here are the items that would come with a starter kit. And that's basically the Solo 8 document camera that you see to the foreground there. An Microsoft Adaptive Kit, which is the whitish box to the left center of the screen there. And this is a series of labels and bumps and cable attachments that you can utilize to place on your hardware, including the document camera, to identify different ports, keys, cables that you need, and it makes them easier to find and match as you need to do so. And a carry bag so that you can move around with that camera. On the right, you see a laptop, and this is sort of the setup that I'm using today. I'm going to use my work laptop with the setup of a starter kit to the left. So the laptop doesn't come with it. However, you can see the software that is installed on that screen there, and that does come with the starter kit, the software you would install on your own PC. So this is the option that someone would have if they needed a camera and the software and ability to move their camera about. This is the option they would look at. We do have two additional options left to go over. One is a complete kit, and in this setting, you would get all of the components of that starter kit. So you see there in the foreground, again, the document camera, to the left, the adaptive kit, and then the back of the image, you see that carry bag. But we add at least four other items here that come to mind in the image here. And probably most importantly, to the right there, you see a Microsoft Surface tablet. That's a Surface Pro tablet. That comes with the software to be installed onto it. So you can use that as a touch interface. It's highly portable and can be used pretty much anywhere that you want to use it, including when it's detached from everything, enjoying reading on your couch. It doesn't stand out on here, but on the left edge of that Surface tablet, there is an adapter that is included that provides additional USB ports and Ethernet ports and so forth for connectivity out to other devices. So you would use that to help connect up other things that you want to connect. And sort of in the midground of the image here, you'll see a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard. Both are Bluetooth connected to that tablet so that you sort of have a full setup to use if you want to have a regular keyboard and mouse. And I will note that that mouse is very, very quiet. It's sort of a silent mouse. Now, I know that my personal image, I've got my camera turned on right now, and you can't see me really well, but I do have that set up over here behind my shoulder here as one of my setups in my office. And then the last option that we offer, and this one is only available in North America, so that would be US and Canada, is an all-in-one PC option. And in this case, you have a 24-inch all-in-one PC that you see here to the left. It's actually got a document opened using one of the available contrasts in Prodigy for Windows, and that would be being read on that screen. And to the top, you'll note that it does have a integrated webcam as well, so you can use it for meetings like we're holding today. And this all-in-one comes with a wired keyboard and mouse, the software, and that Microsoft Adaptive Kit. Again, because it's a 24-inch screen, it's not something that's intended to be moved around a whole lot, but it is a really nice setup for someone who wants, a base system that works very simply and easily with the software. So we sell, a fair amount of these to older individuals who want to set up a space in their home to work with Prodigy for Windows. So that's the end of my PowerPoint slides for now. Again, I'll remind to go ahead and post any questions that you might have in the chat box. I'm going to stop sharing this slide right now, and I'm going to change screens that I'm sharing. So give me just a moment to do that. And I will switch to my Prodigy software. So if someone can tell me through the chat there if you are seeing the Prodigy software in your window there. So let me get my chat open again. It closed on me. Okay, great. Thank you, Brady. So I have my software opened up down here, and we are in what's called the carousel. Again, I'll provide a quick overview of the software and what it's about for those of you that have not seen it before. Across the top here, you'll see basic system information. So top left, date, April 16th. Center is the time, 12 p.m. here on the East Coast in the US. My battery status, and I am connected to Wi-Fi on the right there. The center portion of the screen is what we call our carousel. Those that have seen our other iterations of Prodigy in our Android environment, you'll be somewhat familiar with that carousel environment. And then in the lower left and right are some navigation arrows that will allow me to move through the carousel. In the center, I see some enumeration. So this tells me I'm on one of 5, and those are one of 5 pages in my carousel right now. So it's one large magnifier that you see right now. That's the icon that's in the center of the screen, one of 5 there. Those that have seen the software before, you'll notice that we have swapped out in version 1.3, which I'm showing you today. This is probably the last pre-release version before we go live next week. We've removed the dots and just switched out for a numbering system. Voice of customer told us, hey, those dots aren't really doing us any good. It's just easier to know how far I have to go left or right to get there. So I'll tap here. All of this is touch sensitive. My laptop does not have touch capabilities onto it, but I can use the icons at the bottom to navigate, and they are also navigable using my keyboard. So I can use my arrow key or my tab key on my keyboard to navigate through the different functionalities there, and then hit my enter key to activate each of them. So let's enter one more time. So those are the 5 pages of my carousel there. I'm on my help screen right now, and I'm going to tab to my back arrow and hit enter. Because we have a number of folks on the line today who have not seen the software before, I'm going to go ahead and go through some of the settings in Prodigy just to orientate you to the software. So let's just look at the settings first, and bear in mind that Prodigy has been designed from the ground up with accessibility for individuals with low vision and other disabilities in mind. So that's why I was highlighting there that we do have keyboard shortcuts, and I'm just using arrows and tabs right now, but there are other keyboard shortcuts that are available in our accessibility guide that can be utilized. So it can be navigable using those key shortcuts, really helpful also for those that might have physical disabilities to program alternative access devices. But that's why we have big, large icons on here. You'll notice that this carousel interface is also overtaking the entire desktop area. That's one of the things that folks really like about our Prodigy software in Android that we've brought to the Windows environment. So that is available as well. So I'm going to tap on my settings here and just go through some of the settings within the interface and system that you can adjust for users. So let's take a look in user interface first. So our carousel is the first option there. I'll click on that, and as you've seen, we had one icon showing there. I can adjust it to 2 or 4 icons depending upon the visual acuity that I have. So I'm going to quickly hit this back arrow in the upper left corner here to exit out of my settings here to show you the change that I just implemented. So now I have 4 icons. So if I have enough vision left that I can work with 4 icons, it will make the interface a little bit easier to navigate or a little bit quicker to navigate. So I'll go back into settings there again and user interface. I'll just leave mine on 4 for now, and we'll come down to the next option. So you'll see here, English Darius, Louise is my French voice, Claudia is my Dutch voice, or my German voice there. You can have up to 4 different languages installed on Prodigy at any given time. So if I wanted to add another possible option available, I could come down and click on configuration. Let's say that I wanted to have a Finnish voice. I could click on Sana here, click the arrow up here, and I would download and install that voice for use as one of my system languages. But let me show you the effect that this has. So Darius is an English voice. You haven't heard him read yet, but up top here, you can see that my system language is in English. I can change my system language to French, and Luis will become my reader. And here you'll see that the top has changed. My whole interface will change into French so that I can use it as a French speaker. And anytime that I want to have it read aloud, which you'll see in just a moment, it would read in Luis as my French voice. Now, because I'm English, I'm going to leave it on English today so that I can navigate around easily and walk you through each of these different settings. We can adjust the colors. So you've seen the full color sort of standard interface here with black text on white background and so forth, but we can make changes to that. And there is a full range of color combinations that can be employed here. So let's just switch one here. And here you can see we've applied black on yellow. We can apply yellow on black. My preference really is white on black, which is sort of an inversion of the normal. And you will see what that looks like when I exit out to the carousel in just a moment as well. But now everything is in a nice white on black with a really popping contrast for me. So for users, we can go through and set any of those contrasts to meet their needs. My locator color, that's the bounding box that I see as I'm navigating around in here right now, is red. And that's the default. I can change that to any number of colors that I might want to use. My personal preference is blue, so I'll switch to blue, and you can see it take effect right there. So I'll leave that in play. Here's a new feature in version 1.3. We've added the ability to adjust the mouse pointer size within Prodigy. Now, this can be done in the Windows accessibility environment as well, but we had voice of customer say it'd be a lot easier to make that adjustment very quickly inside of Prodigy. So now I can do that right here. And I have a double the size about mouse pointer, and I'll click right back into my interface, and it comes back in here to where I have now a size 8 mouse pointer. I'll show you a little bit more about Microsoft accessibility in just a moment, but this is a new addition in version 1.3. Screen brightness, this will affect system-wide, and I have to sort of take it pretty far for you to see the difference. But this will adjust my screen brightness based upon my visual needs. And then I just click back off into my interface, and it will take effect as I would like it to be set. And then you will see the button banner in just a moment. Always is how I like mine to present for demonstration purposes. And I'll speak to that in just a moment, but I'll explain it again when you get there. But you can adjust how our button banners apply themselves when you're using the magnifiers and our distance cameras in just a moment. So that's available in the user interface. Very quickly, in our audio settings, I've had speech off all the time, which is the default setting for my system.
Speech menu, 3 items. Off,
And
checked.
if someone can just chat through the window there that you're actually hearing the audio, I turned it on ahead of time, but just to confirm for me that you are hearing it. Fantastic. Thank you, Brady. We have two other options. I'm going to turn speech on right now.
On, checked.
And now I'll navigate out.
Audio menu, 3 items. Speech, on, submenu.
And I'll navigate down one.
Speech rate menu, 5 items. Normal, checked.
So you can hear now Darius is the voice that we selected in my system language choices in the user interface. He's reading aloud the interface for me pretty much every step of the way.
Fast, checked. Normal, checked.
So
audio
at this
menu,
point,
3 items. Speech rate, normal, submenu. Speech menu, 3 items. On,
back in my speech.
Checked.
I'm going to set
Documents
it back
only,
to documents
checked.
only, and you're going to see what this means in just a moment. So essentially, when you have speech on, everything's going to be read to you throughout the interface as you navigate, and documents that you may capture and want to read will also be read aloud. If it's off, then none of that's going to be read, and you'll just use your own eyesight to do everything that you're doing in the interface. I'm going to leave it set to documents only right now because it's hard to present while the system is talking over me. And then as I've been going along, the sound, as Brady has said, you're hearing it, it's turned on. You hear that little bonging sound. There's different sounds throughout the system that I can have turned on and off that will cue me as to actions happening in the system. And I'm going to turn that off for now. Coming down through our settings to the next level, we have a system setting. And I'm only going to go into one of these right now, but each of these first four, Wi-Fi setup, Bluetooth setup, and accessibility setup, are going to go out into the Windows interface to allow me to make those settings changes. So a few moments ago, I showed you that we had moved the mouse pointer setting into Prodigy. The brightness setting is another one that we're actually controlling with inside of Prodigy that's actually a Windows setting. Those are the ones that have been requested rather than try to recreate all of their system settings. We will allow access out to the Windows environment. Let me bring this window down here so you can see it has opened up my Windows accessibility settings so I can go in and make any changes that I want within Windows accessibility. I'm not going to mess with those a whole lot right now, but we do have a couple of lengthy videos on our support page that goes into all of the Windows accessibility settings in Windows 10 and 11 so that you can understand those fully if you don't. But you would make those changes here, and then in the upper right, click that X, and you're right back into Prodigy again. So you can do the same thing with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth setup there. Software update is going to go out and check and see if there's system updates available. I must have not run the last update that the team put out. I won't do that now in deference to your time, but typically you'll be prompted when you start up the software, hey, there's an update available. Do you want to run it? And you can say, remind me later, or go ahead and do it now. Or you can come into the menu and find it and say update now. So I'm going to cancel here, but this would run the update onto my system right there. Everything would continue running. Send crash logs. I want to point this out that we really would like everyone to set this to say always. We don't like anybody to have a crash, but they show up in our shared inbox with myself and our development team. And each morning we check them and go over them to see if there's something that we need to address immediately, or if it's a fix that needs to come in our next release and that sort of thing. So that's a setting that we hope that it's defaulted to ask because we don't want to do anything without your permission, but we hope that folks will set it to always. Screen magnifier notification. Okay, so this is a new feature in version 1.3. So this means if you're running Dolphin Supernova, Zoom Text, or Windows Magnifier, and you come into Prodigy, those tools are designed to magnify your screen. And my screen is already being magnified by Prodigy. So applying magnification on top of magnification can become very difficult to manage. So we have three options. The first is to ask the user, "Hey, do you want me to turn that off?" If they say yes, then we will turn it off. We can have it set to off, which means that we will turn it off automatically every time it's detected when someone is entering Prodigy and that is running, or we can just leave it on if that's their choice. So those are the three options that are available. So a new feature that's been implemented because we heard from a number of users that they wanted to have Prodigy help them control their screen magnification system. I will note that with Dolphin Supernova, we cannot auto turn that off. It will always be an ask me situation. The software doesn't allow us to just go in and say shut it down. So we will present the key shortcut to remind the user how to do that. So that's new. Another new feature in version 1.3 is
We'd like you to
usage
share
data.
optional.
Oops, sorry, double click there. Is usage data. And this is anonymous usage data. I'll just quickly click on details now that you've been brought up
We'd
to
like you to
speed.
share optional diagnostic and usage data. It's how we will continue to improve. None of this data includes your name, file contents, images, saved data, or information unrelated to the use of Prodigy software.
So that's just a little details about what's collected. Here again, it's the default would be no. We're hoping that most users will select yes. In essence, what it does is it provides a snapshot of the system setup. So how many system languages are installed, which one is being used, what color combination is being used, what's the reading rate, those sorts of things. And it's just a snapshot of the system setup that will help us developmentally for the short term. In the future, we hope to expand that out to some sort of reporting data that can be reported back to users to help them in using the software on a day-to-day basis and that sort of thing. So that's a new feature in version 1.3. And then at the bottom is the ability to restore default settings. So any changes that I make while I'm demonstrating the software or while I'm trying to figure out how I want it set up, I can go back to ground zero and start over again and reconfigure everything the way that I want. Under account, I just want to point out a couple of things here. There's license information. Key here is this third item is the license ID. So we can copy that to a clipboard for a user to share in the case of a support situation with customer support or technical support. They can do it through a chat or an email or whatever so that we can support their work with Prodigy if they have any issues or they have questions. And then at the bottom, I wanted to point out also down here, this log out option. This is actually logging them out of the software. You use a username, which is your email address, and a password to log in. As I pointed out earlier, again, I know you probably can't see through my camera very well right now, but I have in the back corner behind me, I have my Surface tablet there, and I have that all-in-one. Those both have Prodigy installed in it, as does my work laptop. So that's 3 installations right now that I'm using with the same user profile. And this is something that we allow for the convenience of the users. I'm not the only person, just because I work with HumanWare, that have multiple devices that I might want to use Prodigy on. And there might be a case where I even have a fourth device, another computer that's in an office upstairs that I want to use it on. Well, in the case where I wanted to use it on that fourth device, I would have to log out of my account on one of these 3 devices to use it there. So that's what the logout is down here. So we've tried to make it user-friendly for users to support the different needs that they might have. And certainly many users have more than one device that they might want to use Prodigy on. And the bottom list is the about information. And what I wanted to highlight here in the upper right is the ability to download a system profile. I'll just click on that right now, and it's going to download my system setup information right to the desktop of my PC. Okay, it finished up. Good. There it goes. Export to desktop successful. Not sure why it took so long. I'll get with my R&D guys after that. So, and it's downloaded to my desktop a profile, and I'll show you that in just a moment where it landed rather than try to go there right now. So here you can see system information, again, stuff that might be needed in a support situation. So that can be important as well. This exit to Windows will shut down Prodigy altogether, and I'll be back in my Windows environment completely. So that's a tour of all of my available settings inside of Prodigy to give you a sense of what's there. So, and I also wove in some of the new 1.3 features there as well. So now let's come back to, I've set mine up. Oh, let me back out of here very quickly. Remember we set it to 4 icons here. You can also now see my contrast color that I applied was that white text or white on black background. So now my icons are down to that black on white or white on black as appropriate, as opposed to full color. And this way I get like that really nice contrast when I look at each of my icons. So I wanted to point out how that applied out here, and down at the bottom you can see it's applied throughout the interface there. So again, the user can choose yellow on black, whatever combination they'd like to have there. So now you can see here, I opened up my magnifier, and this is my Solo 8 camera. I'm using, again, that starter kit setup with a camera, software installed on a PC. And here I go, I have my camera focused on a document here. In this case, I'm using the wheel on my mouse. I'm holding it up if you're looking at my video to zoom in and zoom out on my live document here. I can move my hand over in here. And you can see that a little bit of effect on the lighting when I put my hand in there. So I can do it with a mouse. If I have a touchscreen, pinch and zoom gestures would work with my Surface tablet if I were working off of that today. And then in the lower right here, again, I can navigate using arrow keys, and I have those buttons in the lower right corner, the plus and the minus sign, to zoom in and zoom out on my document here. So I'm going to actually come over to the left of my toolbar and work from the left to the right and come back to this. So there's a back arrow there. You might not have noticed because I clicked on it quickly, but that takes me back to my carousel and exits me out of my magnifier. To the immediate right of that is what looks like the mountains, and that's an icon for my distance camera. So I'll click on that, and I have a configured distance camera that I'm using that I can see across the room here. And zoom in and zoom out with that camera. So I can move smoothly and efficiently between those two cameras with that second icon in. Notice that it's now got sort of a T there for text or document. That's because typically for our down-facing or magnifier camera, we're going to be looking at text-based documents and that sort of thing. So I can go between those two cameras very quickly. Now, I want to point out just sort of a core feature of Prodigy here. Well, let me skip that. Go back to that in a second. I apologize. This is a new feature, the third button in from the left corner there that I want to show. Then I'll go into a core feature there. This is a new version 1.3 feature. It is a tool that allows me to move into a split screen view. See my blue bounding box? Remember, we set that in my interface options. But now I have the benefit of having both my document camera or my magnifier on the left, my distance camera on the right. And wherever that blue bounding box is, I can control that camera. I'm using my mouse right now, but the toolbar down here will control it as well. And I can go between the two. So right now, I have them set up side by side. And I can tap my icon one more time. And now I will move to having them on top and bottom. Again, there's that blue bounding box showing me which one I'm running, so I know know where I'm at as I'm doing this. And if I tap it one more time, I'll complete the cycle and return back to whatever camera was in that blue box is the one that I returned to. So this is a new feature that's coming out again, and this is like one of the first things that we were asked for by users. I wanted to point out one other thing with this while I'm in my split screen view here. To the right here, I'm currently in my distance camera. To the left, I'm controlling my down-facing document camera. So whichever one I'm in, if I double click onto it or double tap, I will exit out of split screen to that specific camera again. I still have the ability, though, to come back and navigate my cameras and get back into split screen and so forth there. So I think that's going to be a highly useful functionality, but we are looking for feedback on that. So certainly after today, let me know. I see Brady's asking if I'm using the Solo 8. I'm going to go into that in just a moment. Brady, I'll explain that to you. In fact, since I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and switch to my distance camera here. Okay. And this functionality is similar on both my magnifier and my distance. So I'll just show it inside of my distance camera. The gear wheel would be the next icon I wanted to show very quickly. And this goes into the settings for the camera that's being used, in this case, my distance camera. And I'll click on my camera here, and you'll see that I'm currently using an IPEVO VZR. So one of the reasons that I'm using this is to show you that you can use other distance cameras that are connected to your system. The IPEVO VZR connects via USB. Here's my HoverCam Solo 8. It's currently in use as my document camera. If I wanted to, I could turn on my webcam. That's the camera I'm currently using though. So I don't want that to crash out because I'm using that in my Zoom. I can use a Logitech webcam. So any camera that's connected to my system, be it an integrated camera into my laptop or connected via USB, I can use. And then I can even go and use my Wi-Fi camera that is a Kodak. We sell a Kodak Wi-Fi camera that you can utilize with this. So let's go ahead and see if that will connect up for us here. I'll back out. And we'll get back into our magnifier here. Our distance camera. And now I can zoom in and zoom out. You saw my puppy down there in the corner. But the nice thing about this camera is it goes to 25x, but it's also the image quality when you do a capture. So let me just do a capture really quickly here. Seems to be losing a little bit of clarity using the going through the zoom here, but we'll go ahead and capture an image here just so you can see the quality of the camera image you can get out of this. So this is using that camera there across a room. It's about 12 foot across, and that's using the Kodak. So that was the IPEVO that I was using for distance there. So that setting is very similar for both text and distance camera settings. Of course, just like I did there, I have the ability to capture a document using my down-facing magnifier camera. So it's going to go ahead and capture the field of view of my camera down here. And in this case, we will go ahead and OCR the text. And now you can see that we've captured the text, and I can navigate it live, pan around onto it as I'm doing here. And I'll long press on right here.
The planet is heating up and fast polar bears are being threatened. They need ice for hunting seals, their primary prey. However, the ice caps are melting.
Okay, so it's reading nice and quick there, and I can exit back out of that reading mode or go back to my live view as I like. So we can change from our Diamond Edge. Diamond Edge is our font style, basically a lossless font. So I can zoom all the way in to just about one word at a time, and you can see that I basically lost no content at all there. And I can then go ahead and save that if I want to. So just basically just-in-time OCR and reading right there. I see a question from Kyle. When using on-screen annotations, will it be digital ink when I use a pen of a smart panel? Great question. If I had a smart panel to test on, I cannot say for sure. I do know that we have annotations ourselves on the roadmap within Prodigi. Something that we'll need to explore in terms of using a pen on a smart panel. So sorry, Kyle, I don't have a great answer for you there. Something that we can definitely install and test. Let me come back out of both of my cameras right now because I can see that I'm down to about 5 or 6 minutes in the time that we scheduled together, but we've basically covered magnifier and distance here. I wanted to show a couple of new things within our files settings. So first is the ability to have imports or import documents. And while previously we've had the ability to import TXT files, JPEG files, PNG files, and PDF files, with the version 1.4 release coming next week, 1.3 release, excuse me, coming next week, we'll have the ability to import Word documents. So I click on my gear wheel in the upper right corner, and there's an option to import there. So let's go ahead and click there. And I'm going to go to my desktop, and I see a Word document down here. I can continue to navigate. That's where I see these submenus here. That's what the arrows tell me to the right there. And then at the bottom is an individual document. So I can go ahead and import this document. And you can see how quickly that took place. It's about a 4-page document there. And I now see that document right over here. So let's open it up. 3-page document, I guess. Go ahead and open that. And you can see it's what's new in version 1.3. Click in there.
What's new in Prodigy for Windows v1.3? We're excited to share the latest enhancements.
Okay, so just a quick demonstration there of the ability to import DOCX files coming next week as well. It's not fully perfect yet. We are going to continue to work on getting any headers or footers, and certainly some of the markup that you can apply in Word docs, we still need to work through. So again, keep that feedback coming so we can prioritize which of those to work in first. But that's a huge new feature to provide additional access to content for folks that need it. I'm going to come back out of there now and then go into my sample files folder here. And then for some that need to trial the software, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment, we've increased the number of files that we have available for sample files. So let's just click on one of these right here. This is a French example. So I wanted to demonstrate here that you can open those French documents up. You can see it's in French there. And I can quickly come down here and say, you know what, Darius isn't going to help me here. Let me switch to Luis.
Ce bretteur pour ou contre les divers soulignés cabinets soulignés, ce qui l'a sauvé de l'oubli, c'est la...
And so we've added, I believe, 5 French documents and 5 English documents in full length. They're things that are in the public domain to use for trialing, as well as just for folks to test out. Of course, we have them in English as well here. And then there's a couple of other additional documents available in each that can be used. So those are available as well. I think that is most of what I wanted to show in there. I did want to highlight in this help section that you can get to our documentation files. So all of the documentation on our website has already been updated with the 1.3 user guides, the what's new, and those sorts of things. So you can already access those through our website. And you can also get to our YouTube tutorials and videos from there. You can access how-to videos. This is another great one within the interface to provide us feedback. I would highly recommend that you use this anytime and encourage others to do so. But just go in, tell us how we're doing, and then down at the bottom, there's open fields that can put in any information that you want about the software to help us to continue to improve. So really keen to have that information from our users. Let me just quickly now see if any other questions come in, but I'm going to pop back into my PowerPoint, see if it takes over I'll stop the share here. We'll switch screens. And if someone can just say, yep, I'm seeing that PowerPoint again, that would be helpful. I only have a couple slides to wrap up with here for you. Okay, so just wanted to remind everyone that's hopefully familiar with HumanWare that we have a range of solutions from simple through our intelligent solutions. So on the simple end, we have our Explore 5. That's the smallest one to the far left there. Our Explore 8. It's got the blue and yellow screen there in the center. And our Explore 12. Those are handheld devices that can be manipulated on a tabletop. The Explore 8 and 12 have stands that you can place them in for reading and writing and hand-based activities. And then we have a 16-inch desktop version that's a Reveal 16. So those are simple and easy to use. They don't have any of the sort of intelligent actions that we've done today where I can access the Windows environment or an Android environment and those types of things. So very simple and easy to use. And then on the right, we have our Connect 12 and our Mat Connect. The Mat Connect is an APH version of the Connect 12. But again, this is an Android-based version of Prodigy in a purpose-built tablet device environment. In the center there, you see our Prodigy for Windows, which is the newest member of the family that's growing by the quarter. We are having releases. So again, I've been highlighting what's coming with our release this month, and there'll be another one in August. And then to the right, far right, you can see the Reveal 16i, which is a 16-inch sort of desktop version of Android. It's the same version of software pretty much that you see on that Connect 12 to the left there, but some folks like to have that larger device. It also has a distance camera that's integrated into it, so really nice tool to have there. So I just wanted to highlight that we have this range of simple to intelligent solutions. Any questions, please throw those through the chat. But as we're wrapping up, I wanted to bring this last screen up while I'm taking questions. If you have any questions, please type those through the chat right now. But we do have a trial available that can be requested from our website using that QR code or the URL at the bottom of the screen there. But I do hope that you found this webinar to be helpful to you. Again, next month, I plan to do a more detailed review of the Prodigy software, probably drill a little bit deeper into some of the functionalities that are under the hood in the magnifier, distance camera, and file setting. And we'll focus a little bit less on the new functionalities that are added to the software. If there aren't any questions coming through right now, we will end our video. Let's see. Okay, here's a question that came through the question. Okay, so this is a question that I'll read out. In this version, when in exam mode, are all other files in the gallery except for the exam paper blocked? On the Android software, you're still able to access this, which is a problem in an exam situation. I'm going to answer that verbally right now. So there is no exam mode yet in the Prodigy for Windows software. It is something that we are looking to develop. I can add this question or this idea to our Android development stream as well for consideration. But yeah, right now we don't have an exam mode in Prodigy for Windows, so hopefully that answers that question. All right, I want to thank everyone for joining today. I appreciate you, and please, again, use that feedback link to let us know. Okay, another question here. Student has Prodigy software on a laptop. Can they have a split screen in which they have the magnification Word document on the other side? Great question, Brady. So we started off with the split screen running with the magnifier and the distance camera right now. We will develop it further to have magnifier or distance. And so basically choose what you want on either side, I guess would be the best way to put it. But the next step will be to allow for files to be on one side and one of the other cameras on the other. And that will be a configurable setting. So that is something that we're looking to add. Great question. Okay. Okay, went a little bit over here, but appreciate the questions and the interactivity of the session. Again, check back with us as you look at registering for these sessions. I try to put just a little snippet at the top of what's going to be covered in each one, but I do appreciate everyone joining today, and especially the questions that come in. They're helpful not only in keeping the presenter on his toes, but also with ideas of things that we need to be thinking about in terms of development. So thanks for that. Everyone have a great day. Thanks again. Bye-bye.